Guys, listen, let me just say this before I say anything else. If I can be honest, the present moment is the only thing that exists. I just want to say that right now. Let me just say this. Being awareness or realizing that, aware that I fell into a cycle, some fucking cycle, that I can't do nothing about. Can't do nothing about it. The setbacks that we face, the things that we see around us, the blah blah, the da da, the whatever the fuck. We can't do nothing about it. We can't. We can't. Let me just say this. Let me just say this. Before this whole awareness thing and blah blah blah, I lived a pretty fearful fucking life. Like I was fearful of what to say to people, fearful of this, fearful of that, da da da, this and that. And when you're in those spaces, you always just want to control shit. But the in those moments of trying to control shit, it never settles. Like it never settles. It never does. Ultimately, now I'm about to light me a good ass spliff. About to light me a good ass joint. Well, half a joint, really. But let me just say this. There's no control here. You know, no, in this present moment of like nothing's happening, like this present moment is the only thing that's happening. Let me just say, you got a roof over your head, you got food to eat, you got family, you got all this shit, right? You got the money, it doesn't have to be what you see on an everyday basis, like on your phones and shit like that. Because at some point we still witness it, right? You don't have to pay attention to that or pay attention to your reflections and everything else. A great man once said, live as if it's already done. Wherever like your wish fulfilled, just live as if it's already done. Because in the present moment, nothing's happening. You is you that dictates what happens in this moment. I say this though. There's things that we do. There's things that we do, actions that we take. Whatever type of thing, right? That will bait us into the illusion. No pun intended, right? Shouts out to my man. But that just basically means like like you gotta be feeling shit a whole lot more, like you gotta be like there's certain things that perpetuate certain things, you know lust, fucking, and lust can be anything. Lust can be anything. Lust can be like it doesn't always have to be sex, right? But like that's like the most prominent, because that's like, and believe me, like, I've been there. you know it's still it's still it's still things, that's still something that we should be aware of. But lust can be a whole bunch of different things. It can be sex, it can be overeating, it can just basically be the equivalent of a gratification a gratification that you want now, right? something that you want now, something that you desire, you want it now, whether it be a food, whether it be, a sexual organ, like all these things, right? All these things. Like a lust for money, all these things. I was thinking to myself, earlier. I was like, because it's not, we make it complicated, but it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated to just like to live a simple life. That's basic, like you finding what you love, like what you truly fucking love, like it can bring you the most peace and everything else, and just stick with that and just live a simple life. It doesn't get no simpler than that. Like it doesn't simpler, if that's even a word. But like it doesn't get more plain than that. We make it complicated, yeah, sure. We make it complicated due to like the feeling that we think we get this thing or we get that thing, and so on and so forth. You know, all those things that we desire, and so on and so forth. That's a whole other challenge in and of its own. Like when you just want to be out here, when you want to like chase women, or like if you want to like go after, like for the for the woman too, for the women too, like they chasing after the men and everything else. Not really chasing that, but like we're all seeking. We all think that something outside of us is going to give us that thing, is going to give us that feeling, but it's not that. It's nothing like that. But yeah, chasing after the woman. And it doesn't even have to be that. Like just hustling and hustling and hustling and hustling for like this amount of money. And like you're doing, it's all about the hustle, right? Or like if we, and I'm not saying don't pursue these things. There's a difference between chasing and pursuing something. There's a difference. Even myself, I might still need to learn the difference, but there's a difference. There's a difference between chasing and pursuing something. You can pursue, like in the social thing, like you don't have to avoid women. If you're a man, you don't have to avoid your opposite, right? And you don't have to avoid, you don't have to avoid building wealth. Like if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Build wealth that can not only carry you, but carry your family, carry the family that they have, and so on. It will lead generations and generations to come, regardless of what happens in between that. Or even pursuing in the nice things, like pursuing in the luxury things, But I think this is when the difference kind of comes into play. And this can go the same thing as it goes to like, you know, like like some of us, like there's some of us that fucking, like binge watch manifestation content, because like, we think that there's something that's better than now, right? We binge watching this manifestation content, like we're doing, like we want to manifest. We want to manifest this fucking great fucking abundant of a life, and we want to fucking, have all these great things and so on and so forth, and this, that. But even then, that shit becomes hollow, because and it's like, it's over time, and it probably does get a little bit depressing as you go on. But the thing is that it's all within you. You can fucking, like, like the pain that you feel, the loneliness that you feel sometimes, like fucking, you know this that, like all the things that we feel, right? Like the stories that we hold inside, adding more shit is not going to ease that. It's not going to ease the wounds that the body carries. And no, is not going to prevent future wounds from happening. It's not. This is God's show. This is God's show. There, there's a quote. There's a quote. Shouts out to my man CM Punk. He told, he said, hold on, let me just get some water, because I haven't been drinking water, so. My man said, your arms, your arms is too short to box with God, right? Quote unquote. You're not powerful. You can't try to prevent future endeavors, or future things from happening, just because you think that, if you manifest $1 million, or if you manifest this big fucking house, you manifest your soulmate, you manifest your twin flame, right? Like, you manifest this great life, and just think that everything is just going to be just all peaches and roses, right? That, like, all the things that we're dealing with from the inside, everything that we're dealing with inside this body is just gonna go away. If you're not, if you think that, like, all those outside things is just going to just make you a better person, and if you don't have at least the vision of what you want your life to look like, right? But, and like I said, and like, you, you guys already know, man. If you guys are watching this type of shit and everything else, you guys already know the rules, man. If I'm talking to you guys, I'm talking to myself, and that is kind of like a profound, a profound, a profound way of doing this whole thing. Like, I have to listen to my own shit. So this is just universal shit. This is straight from the heart. If you're not going from the inside out, If you're not working on in here first, if you're not working on the things that you need to do in here first, if you don't know what you want out of your life, and especially as a man, but this, like I said, this is all universal, right? If you don't have the discipline, right? If you don't have the mastery over self, excuse me, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. All right. Sorry, guys. Back to what I was saying. Um, what I'm saying is that if you don't have, right, the mastery over self, this world will run you into circles. And that's just that's just what it's supposed to do. That's just what it's supposed to do. That's feminine energy. That's energy that's always is here, then it's there, then it's all, that's just the way it is. We all have both the feminine and masculine within us. It's very important for us to incorporate, integrate, be still, focus on your breathing, exercise, work out, move the body, be creative, be authentic, all the other jazz. Conserve your fucking energy. Keep your fucking keep your pants on. Keep your pants on. You know. What else? What else is there? That's all I had to say. Peace, guys.